Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Yay!
Hopefully with less squeaking chair this time.
Oh, don't.
No, more squeaking chairs.
I'm afraid to move because my old chair just makes so many noises. Well, anyway, I'm being joined by Perry.
Who has no squeaky chair.
I love it, okay? I'm not getting rid of it. I'm also poor. So.
I'm just joking with you, man. Jeez.
Alright, and Lenny.
Who has no chair but a couch.
We're going to get into a heated argument over chairs. This is what this is going to turn into.
That's the dumbest thing we've gotten into an argument over.
And Jalen.
I got a rocking chair that does not squeak.
And it's not a rocking chair.
Shots.
That's like the
fired.
whole point for a rocking chair. What are you, at your grandmother's house?
That was way funnier than it should have been.
No,
I know your problem. I know what the problem is, Adolfo. Your chair sexually identifies as a rocking chair.
Yes, exactly. Well, anyway, guys, we got a few good, interesting stories for you today. Let's go ahead and start with Perry.
Alright, for those who may not be aware or was probably too young like myself when these games originally came out, but for those of you who may not know this, but the franchise known as Fear Effect, which was originally created by Eidos Interactive and published by Square Enix, or is now known as Square Enix, they are now basically giving, through their collective project or collective initiative, the opportunity for indie developers to make games based on their older franchises, and Fear Effect is one of them. So the French developer Shishay, and I apologize if I butcher that name because I can't freaking pronounce it right now, is apparently going to be making a sequel, from what I'm reading here, to the Fear Effect franchise called Fear Effect Sedna, which is going to be put on a campaign for Kickstarter that's going to start apparently this upcoming Tuesday.
Huh.
So, if you're interested, we can put a link in the description to show you the article and the Kickstarter once it actually goes live.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up with this announcement that have me both really excited and concerned. The first thing is the fact that Fear Effect is coming back at all, because when I first started getting and collecting PlayStation 1 games and was becoming more interested in games that I never was allowed to play because I was way, way too young to do this, and Fear Effect was certainly one of them because both of them, I believe, are rated M. Having that said, these two, for some reason, kind of always stood out in my head. I don't know why, just the name itself and the way it looked kind of left an impression in my head. So once I actually took a look into them, it looked to be really, really good. The best way I can describe it for those who haven't played it is that the original Fear Effects were sort of a mix of an adventure game type scenario where you basically pick choose a couple of different weapons to fit the scenario in order to solve a puzzle, with a mix of survival horror akin to classic Resident Evil. So that's kind of what made the style of it kind of stand out, but also have it been cell shaded. So, like Resident Evil 1, it was it was a pre-generated backgrounds, right? It was like CG backgrounds, but it was like permanently fixtured in the environment.
You talking about the pre-rendered backgrounds?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, it had pre-rendered backgrounds, but the models themselves were polygonal sprites, but they were I guess you could call it an early form of cell shaded. Which, if you look at them now, yes, you can tell they're a little bit dated, but they actually still look relatively good for the time that they were made.
Uh-huh.
And
I'm looking.
go ahead.
I'm looking at these pictures. It kind of looks Diablo style, kind of like an overhead view.
Yeah, they say the developer Shishay has stated that this is very much heavily inspired by Shadowrun Returns.
Oh, okay.
So, which, granted, would be very, very cool, except Shadowrun is not Fear Effect, and Fear Effect is not Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is one thing that I was kind of raising as a concern about was the gameplay style. Now, I have no problem with Shadowrun Returns' style. If you want to do an isometric game, that's perfectly fine. because I know Shadowrun originally did something like that. So that is very much true to Shadowrun, but Fear Effect is a third-person adventure survival horror game. Or at least the very first one is. The second one, I will admit, is a little bit foggy in my head. But that's kind of one is like, okay, so you go from that gameplay style to something like this. Not exactly the best way to show that you understand how Fear Effect works. Plus, it would seem like since adventure games are making a relative comeback in the last several years, you could at least make an argument and say, hey, we can make Fear Effect a legitimate adventure game and nobody would have a problem with that. And it would be a good way to get fans back on board. So that's one other thing. And the second thing that concerns me is the developer's pedigree, or I should say lack thereof.
What's their past look like?
Well, that's just it. There isn't much to go off on. Because right now, I'm looking at their pedigree right now, and here, I'll even give you guys a link to this, just so that way you can see it for yourself.
Okay.
There's 3 games of it, one of which is Fear Effect Sedna. The other one is, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Gotia, where it's a point-and-click adventure game where you play as a ghost of a young lady, and that's about it. And it's apparently on Steam, but I haven't tried it yet. Next one is Hazel Run, which is apparently you play as a squirrel trying to win the race of their life. You throw nuts, missiles, and stars at your opponent in crazy runs. So, and apparently and Hazel Run has yet to be announced in terms of release date. So, I don't know. The pedigree of this studio has me puzzled a little bit in saying, what could they have possibly have done to show Square that says, yeah, we'll give you Fear Effect.
Hey guys, we want to do Fear Effect. They're like, whatever, man. Square Enix.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They made one game recently. Hey, these guys are competent, kind of. Here.
Yeah, that's kind of, and this is kind of going back to my concern of the pedigree of the studio. Of if you're going, I understand that Square Enix is collective now. Before anyone starts throwing pitchforks at Square and saying why don't they just fund the game themselves, they've stated in the Games Radar article, which we have here, that they didn't have any plans to release a Fear Effect game in the near future because they got their hands tied with Deus Ex and Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy, of course. So they're a little bit preoccupied. That being said, however, that kind of makes me wonder, okay, well, why didn't you just wait until Mankind Divided was done with IDOS? Because there's still IDOS Interactive with IDOS Montreal.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just wait until Mankind Divided was done, give it to them, and say, hey, let's bring back Fear Effect. I'm pretty sure you could do that, and you have the cash to do it. So, I'm not saying that they shouldn't give the older properties to indie developers, because that's probably a good thing in order to get their portfolios going, but at least give it to someone who has relative experience with the gameplay style that you're going with, or what made the series stand out in the first place. So, I don't know. It just makes me very, very anxious in terms of how they're going to execute Fear Fed Sedna. Don't get me wrong, I want this to be good. I really do. But at the same time, the pedigree of the studio and the actual mechanics of the game doesn't seem to be indicating that it's very much loyal to the original Fear Effects or paying homage to them. And there's kind of a third concern that was raised in the article. And I will admit, I can understand why this would be toned down, because they don't want to rely on this idea, but it's kind of a part of the series' identity. And that is, the developer apparently says they want to tone down the sexual relationship between the main 2 female leads, and if I'm trying to remember correctly, the female leads of Hana and Rain. So that's kind of where I'm going with, okay, I understand why you would want to, but you kind of can't. Because that's sort of been at the core, or one of the key aspects of both of their characters since the inception of the series. I mean, Hana, the main female lead, has been bisexual forever. So you kind of can't tone that down. In fact, IDOS was so adamant about making the two bisexual leads like such a foray at the forefront of the game. They pretty much made it a selling point. So it's not just a selling point for the game; it's a part of their character. So it seems to me like, okay, well, if you're going to tone down that aspect, you're kind of ignoring part of the character. I don't know. It just seems to me something like a little small things that just make me a little bit worried about this project. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going on way, way longer than I probably should. What do you guys think about this?
Well, since I spoke up first, I guess I'll say, well, I mean, I don't remember the Fear Effect games at all. I don't think I even played them. So seeing this new game in the same name with the same characters rise up and be slightly different doesn't have the same effect. I mean, yeah, I would like it to be in the same vein of its original, if it was originally. But I'm fine seeing something new if it can be done, competently. About the two female characters, if they're trying to tone it down, I mean, I hope it's still there because that's what they are. They're in love with each other. They are the couple, as they say, OTP. Free to ship, whenever to ship. But maybe they're just like, we don't want to be too touchy. This is a touchy thing. Let's not touch it.
Question, didn't, you compared it to Shadowrun earlier, but didn't Shadowrun also have a reboot, like a reboot sequelish kind of this magnitude, and didn't people absolutely hate it?
Shadowrun Returns?
The PS3 game.
Oh, that one. No, that's different.
Oh.
That was done in the vein of like, hey, let's take this game that a lot of people really, really like and do a gameplay style that's completely different from it.
Oh, like the Syndicate reboot.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Basically, Shadowrun was the Syndicate reboot before the Syndicate reboot happened.
Yeah, so as long as it's not like that, as long as it's not something completely dramatically different, I don't see it being that bad. Like Jalen said, if it's done competently.
I mean, Shadowrun was done originally as an isometric game, and it was cyberpunk related, so it makes sense to why they would bring it back as a cyberpunk isometric game with Shadowrun Returns. And when Shadowrun's Return came out, it was very positively received. It was like, hey, look, it is Shadowrun because it's in the same style as the originals and shows that they actually kind of, give a shit.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this is a Shadowrun's Return type deal where it shows affection for the originals, but at the same time, considering it is very much a deviation of the original gameplay style, I don't want this to be a Shadowrun PS3 or 360 version. Or a Syndicate reboot. And I'm pretty sure fans of the series doesn't want that either.
Yeah, probably. Well, I hope it turns out well. Because I've only seen the previous games. I've never played them, but I definitely would like to get my hands on them. Are they on PSN or anything? Or would I have to hunt down a physical copy?
Let me double check on that one. Because I think they should be on PSN.
Yeah. Lenny, you don't got anything to say on this? You've been relatively quiet.
I'm just kind of formulating my thoughts, because I have, I guess, two main thoughts on the matter. The first of which is sort of okay, honestly, both these thoughts I'm having are more devil's advocate kind of thoughts, so if I say this, it's if it seems contradictory to what I normally say, it's because it is, but it's still something I think is relevant.
It's because Lenny's been replaced by a body snatcher.
No, the human Lenny, have not been replaced by a body snatcher who is not a human. Just to be clear with everyone in the call.
Gotcha, guys.
Yeah.
You need to do something about Lenny.
And I'm telling the truth because I told you I'm telling the truth. It's how honesty works.
Says every person on the internet ever.
But no, my first thought is, okay, so Perry, you said you were sort of concerned because of the pedigree or lack thereof of these developers, right?
That is true.
Okay, so then I'm going to bring up something you mentioned before about how you said you'd really like it if Sega would give you the license to work on a Sega game, or a Sonic game, right?
That is right.
Okay, so I'm going to say, would you find the situations comparable, considering that since you've never worked on a Sonic game before and you still want to work on one, wouldn't that be the same situation of these guys want to work on a Fear Effect game even though they've never worked on one?
Okay, you do raise a potentially interesting point, but this is my own little counter argument to that whole idea. If I was going to make a Sonic game, I would do it in a vein that would look similar to that of an actual Sonic game. I would not turn a Sonic game into a turn-based RPG or something like that, because that's not what people look for in a Sonic game or what's akin to the franchise. If I did, I would be basically creating Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
I was just going to interject and say, yeah, that's an actual thing.
Yeah, that's true. But you are also deviating relatively from the series, because I remember you also mentioning that you're going to take heavy inspiration from the Archie comics, which has never actually been done within a mainline like Sonic game or any of the games, as far as I know.
Right, but that's because it's still the Sonic universe. It's still relatively, it's like, hey, this is still the Sonic characters, as you know, but it's a different storyline.
Yeah, so, I understand that. I'm just more talking about the point of, like, I'm not saying that it's not worrisome when you have someone who doesn't have a pedigree, because, like, we've seen this happen before, where, like, people who've never done or handled a series before fuck it up. But I'm more talking about the point of, if you are worried about this from the perspective of you as an outsider, then would you say, like, similar thing would be comparable, where, like, if they announce, like, Perry Studios. I know that's not what you're gonna call it, but Perry Studios will be making the next Sonic game, and it will be in a different continuity than the rest of the Sonic games, and and everything else. Do you think that people would be equally worried?
That sounds like Sonic Boom.
Okay, you do raise a valid point, at least with Sonic Boom.
And to be fair, I was worried.
I'm just more talking about the point of, like, it's okay to be concerned, but considering that you are at least hoping to achieve a similar position to these guys, a little bit of a little bit of grain of salt with the skepticism wouldn't be too bad, is more I'm getting at.
Oh no, I mean, I get what you mean, and to be fair, don't get me wrong, I'm excited that it's coming back at all. I'm just glad that it's like, hey, I'm glad that this thing isn't just going to be left to the ravages of obscurity and time. So that's one thing. But at the same time, at least show something to make it look like it's actually Fear Effects. If you're going to do it, like, do it in the style of a survival horror adventure game or something like that, at least show that's like, hey, we know what Fear Effect has been looks like in the past, and we can do that now. Plus, the original games were hard. Like,
yep.
Apparently Dark Souls hard.
Oh.
So, yeah, so it was pretty difficult back then, and they had tank control. So if anyone's played classic Grim Fandango, you know how much of a pain in the ass that can be.
Man, classic Grim Fandango, ugh.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, love Grim Fandango, but tank controls, goddamn.
Nah, it just didn't work in that game, I feel.
Yeah, so, and yet Tim Schafer made that a freaking achievement in the game.
I know. He knew.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, even the trophy specifically states that, yes, he specifically requested this be in it. Because apparently he likes torturing his fans.
I mean, admittedly, it's not just like if it's a difficult thing to play with, at least it's not one of those, congratulations, you managed to not die during the tutorial. Here's some gamer points.
Yeah. Although, a little fun fact, though, one of the fun things with Fear Effect is not just seeing, like, the whole, like, okay, yes, the bisexual thing is kind of hot, but at the same time, there's a lot of fun death animation. So, if you've ever seen, like, 1,000 Ways to Die, imagine a video game equivalent of that, where you're just watching all the different ways that all the characters can be killed off and whatnot.
So Tomb Raider reboot.
Yeah, pretty much. Except a lot less gruesome. So, I don't know. You do raise a valid point, Lenny, that it is something where if I was in a position like this, I would be, I guess you could say, I don't know, acting a little bit hypocritical, I don't know.
Well, I'm just talking about, because I know that if you were in that position, and let's say you're going on YouTube, and I'm sure you'd read all these comments of people saying, like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? And then you'd probably be thinking along the lines of, why don't people give me a chance? They haven't seen what I can do yet.
Well,
it's sort of like that.
Okay, there's one other point I was going to add to this. Yeah. I would not try to do a Sonic game until I have my reputation already established and say, hey, guys, I've done my own shit before, and everything, and a relatively good a good portion of what I have done has been pretty good, hypothetically speaking, if I were to do this. So I wouldn't do this until, say, several years, until after I had made a good 3 or 4 games or something like that at minimum, and say, hey, well, all these have relatively sold well, they have been received critically well and by the people as by being very good, so let me try my hand at something a little bit more off the wall, which is something like, in this case, would be Sonic. So if that were the case, I would be doing it differently than what Susei is doing, which is they are pretty much, I don't think, as far as I'm aware of, almost anybody knows about these people. And I'd never heard of them until now. And so that's kind of where it seems like they're coming out of the woodwork from nowhere. I know they have stuff done, and they have it on their site to prove it. And it's on Steam to prove it. But in terms of establishing their reputation and building confidence in the public, they haven't done that factor yet. That's kind of where I'm differing from my approach, is that I'm waiting to basically build up my reputation to warrant people saying, okay, it may be different from what Sega has done in the past, but let's see what he can do. Because he's proven himself to make good stuff before.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah, I can see the difference.
Okay. Anyways, I've said pretty much all I need to say on this. Are you guys good?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, very quick, because I took up more time than I thought I would with that point. The other thing I was going to say is, like, I have 2 explanations as to why they might be toning down the bisexuality of the characters.
Oh, please don't. Please do not mention those demonic 3 letters.
You want me to say the full 3 words instead?
That's still equally demonic.
Hey, no.
It is
demonic.
They don't want to.
Going to.
They don't want to piss off the people who may or may not become easily offended at nothing, who we will not name on this chat.
Just go ahead and say it, man.
SJWs.
You see, I take offense at J and W being evil letters.
Only when there's an S in front of it, so...
Oh,
yeah.
But,
as long it's that, it's more so I think it's just like they don't want to make it seem like that, like, oh, well, you're sexualizing like a non-standard thing, and it's like, I don't fucking, whatever. But, more so to the point, the other thing I was going to mention as an alternative, which I hope they're doing, just so that they're not trying to, pander to people who don't play the game, I'm hoping they're doing it on the context of wanting the game to be taken more seriously. Just because if it's more the idea of like, oh, well, here's a bunch of, like monsters and things and people dying, let's take a break for some bisexual lesbian affairs, doesn't sound quite as potentially serious or realistic as, say, if they happen to be bisexual and they don't try and hide it, but then they don't, point it out in the middle of these very strenuous situations.
We're about to die. There's not enough time to be sexy lesbians.
Despite the fact that there should always be time for sexy lesbians, there's got to be an exception when, murder.
I'm not saying it was lesbians, but it was lesbians.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's like, to compare it, if you look at, like, and this isn't a great example because, like, not a ton of people like this game, but if you compare it with, like, say, the DMC reboot, and I know it's a bad example because a lot of people really don't like that game.
But I'd say only 50% of us actually kind of like that.
Yeah, so even within this, podcast, but it's like some of the elements of, like, insane, over-the-top elements were taken down a bit so that it wasn't quite as, say, like, so it's able to be taken slightly more seriously, which, for better or for worse, did or did not work, depending on who you ask. But it's like, compare like a couple of scenes. You know, you have a scene where, you know, like someone gets shot in the head and they're like, holy shit, you killed someone. And then compare that to like Devil May Cry 4 where fucking Dante like stabs a rock with like a weapon called Lucifer and then makes it explode with a rose while talking about nothing but double entendres.
Which is probably one of the most glorious moments in the entire series.
Yeah, it's a glorious and over-the-top thing, but you'd never take that seriously. Like, if they said, oh, well, I want you to feel, like, sad and empathize with Dante during the scene, it's like, no, I'm too busy laughing to care.
When you said that they toned down the action, I imagine somebody, like, holding their heart, like, thank God, things almost got too actiony.
Tone down the over the top, not the action. They still have action, just not talking about everything as if it's your penis kind of action.
Well, what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just if you want to be taken seriously, it's sometimes you just got about not talking double entendres constantly. That's all.
Yeah, fine.
So
it's like
there. I was thinking you were going to talk about a talking double entendre penis. I was like, when did this become Borat?
No, that'll become the Albert Wesker Magical Hour, but that is a story for another day.
Oh.
In other words,
I'm not kidding. That is an actual thing.
In other words, DC Douglas is amazing.
Right now. Yes, Albert Wesker is amazing.
So
the point
George
is,
Bush will be released into the atmosphere.
But yeah, it's that. It's just the idea that possibly they're toning it down just because you're maybe potentially able to take the story more seriously when you're not making sexual remarks. But who knows? I don't know because I never actually played the original Fear Effect, so I don't know how important that was either in the other incarnations. So who knows?
Do you mind if I interject with just a small frame of reference?
Yeah, I've only seen a single video, which is where they're like in an elevator, and then they do lesbian-y things in order to distract the guards, and then they get out of the elevator.
Okay, that wasn't until the second one.
Yeah, so that's literally the only thing I know about the entire series.
To be fair, that is one of the most infamous scenes.
Oh shit!
Like I heard that was a major complaint of the second one, though. Like it's just like they upped lesbianism by 202.
Yeah, pretty much. But but I find it kind of hilarious that the so-called social justice whiners are the ones advocating for more diversity, and yet they would be offended by the promotion and the prominence of a bisexual lesbian couple. And I'm just like, this is the kind of shit that you guys would be wanting to see in terms of like having bisexual characters or lesbian characters. There's two of them in one in the game. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is one of the few times, I think these are two characters that have been like one of the earliest examples of something like that in a video game.
Perry.
Yeah.
Perry. They have to show no emotion.
They're never gonna be happy, Barry.
I know they're not.
And here's why. In that particular instance, they would say that you are like belittling or objectifying their culture.
What culture? There is no culture.
That culture. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, they'll be saying like, "Oh, well, like you're belittling it. You're making us look like a prop to sell your game." You know, like they'd say shit like that.
You know what? I'm fine with that argument. At least it has some kind of substance.
But
wait, what's argument?
Because it's like you said, they were selling the game on the fact they were lesbians when they first came out, so it's not like it's completely invalid.
That was only on the second one.
Yeah, but people complained about it because it's like, maybe we don't want to buy a game for the sole sake of lesbians. You need to have other substance in it.
Okay, that may be true, but at the same time, the series has always been kind of goofy. In fact, just to give a frame of reference, the first one. Okay, one of the first scenes in the game is Hana basically running around with a towel and two guns in her hands. But one of the first scenes, and I know Lenny and I have had many discussions regarding the whole point of like fan service and whatnot, and he does have some valid points when it comes to it. But this is one of those cases you always make the point of how like making use of it rather than just having it for its own sake.
Yeah.
But this is a case where it actually does happen. So one of the scenes happens where basically Hana is held up at gunpoint by a guard. And one of the things that you have in your menu is a towel, which is the one that she's wearing. You can actually, as an option, you can utilize that towel to take off and to basically expose yourself in your birthday suit to the guard to distract them, enough for your allies to come and snap their necks. So, and
There you go.
Okay.
That's perfect. To utilize
okay, you can't use fan service. Yeah, it uses gameplay, but it actually has a point. And that was one of the very first scenes in the game. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, okay, but these characters have been sexual ever since they started. That's kind of their thing. And that's part of the character. So you saying that you don't want that, it's like saying, oh, we don't want the actual version of this character.
No,
I get it.
No, they had to be soulless human beings crushing the skulls of males in every other scene.
No, Perry, they want a legitimate version of that character, which is defined by their own personal impressions and tastes.
And they also happen to be lesbians, but that's apparently irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that's all I gotta say about that topic.
And they want it to be pointed out where a guy hits on them and they like shoot him and they go like, "No, I'm a lesbian." Well, anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna go ahead. What you need to say because we really need to move on.
No,
It's been almost an hour on this topic.
We've already gone on about this subject long enough.
All right. But before we do move on, just remember two very important things. According to DMC, Virgil has the bigger dick. And direct all your misguided hatred towards Lenny. Because he started.
I'll defend the game. Bring it on. I regret that statement immediately. I'm going to die.
Hey, I'll defend it with you, man. I like the game plan.
Well, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to Jalen's story. Because this is one of the funnier ones.
All right, guys. You know, we like our people in Congress, right?
Yeah?
No.
Okay. I thought that was the common opinion, too. So, apparently, Representative Duncan Hunter of what state? Does it say? Doesn't seem like it.
The state where you have two last names, huh?
You could Google it just to check.
I could, but I don't feel like it. Anyway, where he's from is not really important. It's what he has been accused of. Apparently, he has been accused of spending over $1,000 in campaign funds to buy games on Steam.
That must have been one hell of a sale.
All right. The exact fund, according to the story, is $1,302.
Yeah. And so, and I love the picture.
I kind of want to know what was the $2 bit. Was it like just a copy of Rayman Origins or something?
It was like DLC for some random game.
Probably.
For Train Simulator, maybe?
And like, he looks like a cool dude. He vapes in the middle of Congress.
And I instantly dislike this guy.
I bet he goes home and takes a bath in his bathtub of liquefied Doritos.
Apparently, he's all about the video games, though. He defends violent video games. He's one of the OGs of this like cool senator crew, I guess.
Who just happens to be a cool dad.
He didn't vape, but I actually like this guy.
Yeah, but apparently, it's his son's fault. So his son used his credit card on Steam, and apparently there were some mistakes, and apparently this caused the funds to be put on as payback by the campaign fund.
Oh.
And so his son's trying to like fix the issue, and he's like, "Don't blame video games, blame parenting."
Oh, I see.
There's a devil in every story, people. This time it's parents.
To be fair, at least he's basically saying I was being a bad parent by not watching my son's purchases with my own credit card.
Well, at least give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Oh well, at least
he's admitting that he screwed up. Whereas most parents, they just like, oh, I don't know what to do, thumb up his ass.
Let's see. I made a genuine mistake, and I could own up to it like the adult that I am, or I could deflect the blame onto a hot topic issue. Decisions.
See, that's rare in Congress. So you actually have to kind of like appreciate that.
Yep.
But good for you, Mr. Senator guy who vapes.
Yeah, good for you for spending $1,300 of taxpayer money for like what 1,000 copies of like an App Store game. Oh wait, that'd be on the iTunes App Store.
Yeah.
That wouldn't.
Money well spent. He bought hats for Team Fortress 2.
Oh
Yep.
God!
That's a lot of fucking.
No, he bought all the hats for everyone in his campaign.
The mystery has been
That's
solved.
where all the money went.
He should be
sign up for his
praised.
campaign, you get a free Steam account and an automatic hat.
He should be praised. This is the man I want running my state. Well, anyway,
Oh, yeah.
any thoughts on this other than what the hell?
I just want a thorough list of what games was bought with this money.
We have to judge his taste before we decide if he's like cool or not.
If I see one COD game in that list, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Well, his son spent the money.
Oh, that, and yeah, it's probably...
we don't. Yeah, we just don't know how old his son is, though. You know, so we have no idea what kind of genre would be most typical of the age of that kid.
He doesn't look like the type that would be ready to drop into a coffin in every second. I'm going to assume that his son's a relatively, like, maybe, I don't know, like late, like, I would say 9, 10, maybe early teens at best.
Yeah, well, I decided to Google him. Thank you, Lenny. He's the representative from California, so it makes sense now that he vapes.
Oh, this adds so much now.
I bet he skateboards into office.
Well, I mean, he's almost 40.
Oh, no. They don't use skateboards in California. They use Segways.
Oh, of course. Hoverboards are the new cool thing, though, so he probably does
That's
that.
true.
But anything else before we move on? This story's silly.
It's just flat out dumb.
Yep.
There's nothing really much to say about it, though.
It's just kind of a, huh?
Yeah. But
I'll say this, of all the potential scandals that he could have gotten into between, like, an affair or drugs or prostitutes, this one seems the most harmless.
yeah.
Or a problem combining all three of those.
One that's come out of the woodwork in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, like Lenny said, this usually is affiliated with either like sexual abuse, drugs, any kind of number of affairs, or money laundering, or fraud, or name any other type of scandal you can think of. It's just like, no, we just spent money on Steam. Which, to be fair, if any of us were in probably politics, we would probably be guilty of the same thing, or anyone who owns a PC.
I think I've already spent $1,000 on Steam, so.
I haven't gotten that high yet.
I don't think I've reached that high either. I just only I only have like maybe 100 games on Steam at the moment.
I only have like 10.
I have a
I have
good.
like maybe 8.
I think I have a good 30-something, but I do buy a lot of DLC for Steam.
Oh.
But remember, I own Street Fighter 4 on there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's all he needs.
Yeah. So if nobody has anything else left to say, let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk movies. We all like movies here, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assumption.
We all
We tend to, yes.
like DC movies, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So what do you guys think about the Suicide Squad movie? People going back to reshoot scenes because of the reaction to Batman vs Superman.
Give me the original cut on DVD, damn it.
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering what kind of scenes they're involving. I'm assuming since it's reception of Batman v Superman, I'm assuming they're going to be like, hey, let's add more jokes here.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn did this zany thing. Ha 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 ha, guys.
Gotta lighten this bitch up. It's too dark in here.
But the thing is, it already kind of looks like that. It was more like dark humor with Suicide Squad, at least from what the trailer looked like.
But here's the thing, Perry. They used every single joke in that Bohemian Rhapsody trailer.
Yep.
We don't know that.
They said it.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, really? When did they say that?
They said it when they first announced that they were reshooting it for jokes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, in that case, I mean, I can kind of see why. I would assume that the Suicide Squad would try to be a little bit more humorous, but I don't know. I'm kind of going like David Ayer. You had a vision for Suicide Squad. Run with it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to. I mean, Batman v Superman, that was his own thing. You're kind of doing your own thing with Suicide Squad. You're doing a team of supervillains. You can't exactly expect it to be like the most hunky-dory thing in the world.
Trying to take a movie with two superheroes and then make the one with a team of supervillains lighter and funnier seems a little bit backwards.
I know, right?
Oh man, these people who definitely, tend to and typically do kill people is more funny than the people who typically don't. Oh no!
But to be fair, they both killed probably more people in that other movie. But we'll get to that another time. We'll get to that another time.
Like what the body count is going to be like. What I want to see like a DC cinematic universe body count.
I would actually love it if in Suicide Squad no one actually died.
Everyone just got hit with cupcakes.
Yeah, but from the article, like one of the actors said that they've been doing a lot more action scenes. They said they've been filming a lot more action scenes, and I don't see anywhere about adding comedy, but I'm pretty sure they're doing that because like
probably in with the action scenes.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
because
I mean, at least that it would allow for something to be considered humorous.
Yeah, because the number one complaint I hear that a lot of people thought Batman vs Superman was dull and for a while until like action started happening. So I think they're trying to alleviate that. But
and yet people were bitching at the fact that Man of Steel had too much action.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like...
Oh man, the action scenes are more exciting than the non-action scenes. Call the police! I'm sorry! Oh my, this is like... I had a neighbor when I was a kid, alright? And we were kids, so we went ding-dong dishing every once in a while. And it was this old lady, she was like all, crabby all the time. Came to my parents one night, and she was like, "Did you know that your boy and those other young kids are knocking on people's doors and ringing their doorbells and running away?" And my stepdad had the fucking perfect response. He's like, "Oh my god, do you need an ambulance? Are you gonna be okay, ma'am?" And that's how I feel with a lot of the negative stuff for Batman v Superman right now, honestly.
I'm the same with Lenny here.
I mean, look, everyone is entitled to your opinion, but I'm just saying, when you drown in your own tears, I'm not coming to your funeral.
In fact, you'll probably pay for the coffin.
Oh god, but yeah, I don't think the movie needed to be changed. If anything, they should have gone forward with their vision. I mean, I'm pretty sure the movie would have done well either way.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
You know, it'd be interesting.
What?
If they did all the reshoots and then, just like with Batman vs Superman, where they're like, "Oh, the rated R cut of the film's on the DVD." Bah, ha, ha, ha. The cut with the more action and the jokes, that'll be on the DVD too. Ha 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 ha.
That actually, I wouldn't be surprised by that because of all the movies, I would assume that the Suicide Squad would get an R-rated cut.
And you want something that's kind of shocked a few people who are like detractors of the film? Like,
what?
Zack Snyder says apparently one of the scenes that was cut from the movie that's going to be in like the extended cut, he cut it from the theatrical version because it was too dark. And yeah, and some people are saying that they hate this current version because it's too dark. And Zack Snyder is basically saying, "Oh, you thought that was dark? Just wait till you see the director's cut."
Ha ha ha! I'm Zack Snyder. I made Sucker Punch. Ha ha ha!
Hey, I liked that movie.
I do too.
Oh, okay.
He's just the man who eats his breakfast like everybody else with a side
one
of
leg
toast.
at a time.
With a side of toast and grits. He just takes a big old vat and pours it all over his breakfast. Because that's the American way, damn it. Well, anyway. Anything else before we move on?
I'm good.
I'm good. I think I've had all my snark for today, so I'm okay.
50 minutes later, more snark.
Well, I might have more, but that's all I've got for that particular movie for now.
Fair enough.
All right. With that, let's go ahead and move on to Lenny's story.
I was about to say, we already did my bit.
It was so good, let's do it again.
No thanks.
Okay. So, let me just pull up the article here so I can get the specifics down.
All right.
So, here's the basic gist of it. So, the Division was released relatively recently, and it's been getting some, not great press, but some decent press. And a lot of people are playing it. It's got some pretty good online communities. And one thing that has been brought up, at least by one player who has cerebral palsy, is the fact that when you have cerebral palsy, like depending on what variant you have, it's very difficult to make fine motor motions, especially with your hands. And so, like, imagine having to use a controller by placing both of your hands on top of it instead of like actually holding it, like gripping it in your fingers, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So his issue was that when he kept using it, because of the way that the PlayStation 4 controller is designed, he kept hitting the pause menu in the middle of firefights because his hand would stretch around to hit the middle pad on the PlayStation 4 controller in the middle of firefights. And that's really bad because since it's an online always game, it doesn't pause the game. It just makes you unable to fight back. And so he was just dying constantly for something that was beyond his control. So he asked, he sent in a thing to Sony and Ubisoft asking if they could help him with his issue. And lo and behold, there was an insanely nice guy by the name of Alex Nawabi, who was part of the customer service team over at PlayStation. And what he did is over a few weeks, he had helped discuss this problem with him, and on his own personal time, made a custom controller for this guy and shipped it to his house with this brand new controller that he had dissected 3 other controllers with and put together specifically for him, where the touchpad on the front was disabled, and there was a new touchpad that was on the back of the controller. Okay. So that when he holds it, if he wants to touch it, he still can, but it's not going to be anywhere where he would initially put it. And then he says, in addition to that, they're going to be sending him another one because the one he sent was a prototype, and now he's going to have the actual engineers at Sony make a new one that's super duper official and custom made, fit, and everything, and send him that one after a few weeks. And this is all free of charge. You didn't have to pay for services or warranties or anything. He just, out of the kindness, because he didn't have to do this. He could have just said, "Oh well, maybe we'll ask Ubisoft to patch it so that you can change the controls." But no, he just did a really nice thing. He addressed it. And he even says one thing he even says is part of his letter, and this is kind of an important, I guess, thing that a lot of people don't typically consider, and that would be atypical gaming styles or atypical gamers, because he says, "I am deeply sorry that the new design for the PlayStation controller has made you unable to play your favorite games." And it's just that. It's that kind of niceness and sincerity that we don't see a ton, because a lot of times you have controllers that just don't match this. And I'm mainly referring to something me and Perry have talked about, with the Nintendo Wii, for example, the main motion controllers, they're not really made very well for people who have certain physical disabilities, and they've never really addressed this issue.
Nope.
And so they never actually... And it's not that everybody has to make everything accommodate every person ever, but it's a matter of making an effort so that you have controllers that are simple enough so that people can work their way around it and accommodate it. And in this case, they were able to. Like, he said, oh, the touchpad doesn't work for what I can do, so we'll move the touchpad somewhere else. Bam. So it's just a nice thing. There's so many things we talk about on this show and in gaming news in general that's so, like, vitriolic and just caustic and every other, like, synonym for that, which is, it's just mean or bad or worrisome, because it's always like, oh, this game was released unfinished, this guy didn't get paid for his thing, this guy spent $1,000 on campaign funds, and this developer slept with this journalist, and you get all this stuff like that, and it's nice to hear a nice thing for once. It really is. So, what are your guys' thoughts on it?
Well, my heart has been warmed. Good job, man who made controller. You are a cool bro. That's all I got. Anybody else?
It's nice. I think it's actually a good idea for some companies to look into some alternative controllers, or at least in the basic designing of their initial controller, thinking about that. I know that's hard to do. I know that really is, because you got to make something that's for everyone. You got to make sure that it feels good and it works well. And then that's just for people who can, have, the normal sense or have the ability to function in the normal manner. And, let's not talk about, the Wii controller or the Wii U or
Dude,
the mystery that is the X.
I'm a fully abled man and I still hate the Wii controllers.
I know.
Oh God, but yeah, this is actually a nice story and a nice change for all those other stories we do on this podcast. But we can't talk much about it because we can't make fun of it, because then we'll look like the jerks. And that's Lenny's job.
Yeah, no. Yeah, go ahead, Aldalfa.
I was gonna go ahead and wrap up, but you got something else to say? Go ahead.
No, I'm just glad that someone else has been doing what I've been trying to push personally in my own little small sphere for years. And it's just like, hey, other people are talking about handicap controllers. Yes, finally, someone is actually doing something about it. So I kind of want to just give these fellas a hug. It's just like, thank you. You're not just focusing on people with physical disabilities, but someone with like neurological disabilities, like cerebral palsy or anything else like. And I'm just like, thank you so much. And I really just want to give them a hug and buy them a beer. I'm gonna give you like a giant ass beer. Where's the Stein?
Yeah. But so, yeah,
it does. This kind of stuff does make me very, very happy. And if I had thumbs right now, I would give 2 thumbs up for this one.
But it is nice. But let's go ahead and move on. Guys, this is time and time again proven to be my favorite section of the podcast.
and for good reason.
Yes, boy, do we have a good one for you. Lenny, go ahead and explain what the hell we're looking at right now.
And if you can,
I'll try. I will try. So, to put it simply, what we have right now is a unique hybrid of situations where Konami at this point has decided it would be an excellent idea to start taking a certain franchise and use it for marketing purposes, and not their own marketing purposes, but for the marketing purposes of other people and companies. Now, if this was like related products, like, you got the new soccer game coming out, let's advertise this with like new controllers or with soccer balls or something like that. Sure, whatever, that it's related, it makes sense, fine. but what if you had heard or came across this ad where they're using PlayStation 1 era Metal Gear Solid 1 to advertise Ford cars?
2 words
I
come
would
to
say,
mind.
what are you smoking? Give me some, and what the fuck?
2 words come to mind. Fucking
Yeah.
finally.
There are 2 ads that they released of the PlayStation 1 game Metal Gear Solid, where they advertise in heavy detail the latest Ford models of vehicles. One of which is a codec call, and one of which is a boss fight.
With Psycho Mantis.
Man, what is
Yeah.
up with Ford wanting people who like video games and anime to buy their cars? Because wasn't Miku also advertised with Ford?
Yes, they put it on a
And
car,
Domino's.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and Domino's too.
To the Miko Mobile.
I don't know about you guys, but when I was running around Shadow Moses, I was going like, there has to be a better, more convenient way. Maybe if I was in a Ford Focus.
Oh.
Oh, God. But yeah, these things are like, they're hilariously like, I don't even know if I should say bad, because they're
It's
funny.
just weird.
They're funny as fuck. But
Yeah.
to hear David Hayner actually go into like get excited over a car, it's just one of the greatest things ever.
Ugh.
We can't be bothered to get David Hayner for Solid Snake anymore, but we can get him for a Ford commercial.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing, that apparently Konami wanted him back for this commercial, but not for Ground Zeroes or Phantom Pain.
Well, that's a Kojima thing. I feel.
Really?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
Kojima thing. Yeah, he said that in his there was an article that discussed that, where he spoke about how they just kind of silently replaced him with Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, see, the thing that I had assumed when I started hearing about this, because they said, oh, he's been doing it since like Metal Gear Solid 3, I assumed they were doing that because they always wanted a voice actor for Big Boss to be different from Solid Snake, since they're different people.
Yeah.
You know, so I figured that'd be like an opportune time to do it. And I guess it was just sort of like late coming at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like Kojima always said like he wanted Kurt Russell to be Big Boss at one point, and Kurt Russell was like, nah.
Yep.
But yeah, just please go watch these commercials. They're great. And if you have a chance, please go watch the Dragon Ball ones too. Those are also hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what the hell, man.
Yep.
That's all I can think. Like, what the fuck? Like, honestly, not to be cheesy.
It kind of just makes you wonder what the heck is next. I mean, first we had Dragon Ball commercials, then we got Miku, now we got Metal Gear Solid. What the hell could they do next?
Sailor Moon.
Oh,
Jalen, what was that comment on the Metal Gear video?
Oh, God, I already forgot it. Oh, Castlevania. What's next? What is a Ford? A convenient little, a high quality car for convenience?
knowing Konami, they probably would do something like that. Especially now, since they don't seem to give a crap about video games anymore.
Nah, it's all about them gamblings and soccer and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pachinko's everywhere.
You go to those Konami-owned casinos
Because that's where all the real money is made, people.
in
Buy
Japan.
Buy a Ford Focus today and you get a free pachinko machine.
Oh, God.
You can get that Silent Hill one that made me cry. Because they canceled the real Silent Hills.
For that.
Yes. We have a Silent Hill pachinko machine, everybody. If
I really do want to know what Kojima's stance on this whole thing is, considering that Metal Gear Solid 1 sort of solidified his place on the map, and this is kind of now what Konami is doing with it now that he's gone.
I have to imagine he's very disappointed because I think wasn't it mentioned that this was one of the reasons, like, they actually fired Kojima?
No, that was just me hypothesizing. It's not been officially confirmed. I just basically thought that the idea is like, yeah, Kojima wouldn't want to, whore out one of his, properties because it's like it's just that. Like he's like, I made this for like for art or to make a statement or make a good game. I didn't make this so that you could fucking like leech off of it for the sake of a car.
Yeah, and as like you were pointing out earlier, Lenny, he does, put product placement in his games, but that's way different than just outright doing like an ad going, hey, buy this thing. It's got this, and this. Oh, yeah, Metal Gear. Woohoo, buy.
Yeah, because it's like, it seemed more like, because it's not like making, because they make a joke sometimes. Because they had that, like in Metal Gear Solid 4, there's a joke where they like kind of point out like some of the features. They're like, okay, time to swap the discs. Oh wait, we're on Blu-ray. We don't have to. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But instead in this one, they're like, everyone is in on it. So they're like, yes, the Ford Fusion is the best car ever. Oh really? Tell me about why it's the best car ever. Certainly, I will now spend time telling you why it is the best car ever. And it's not a joke. It's like the only thing that's a joke about it is how straight-faced the whole thing is.
I could just imagine a Silent Hill Ford commercial. That would kill me inside, but it would be funny.
Oh boy, Ford Fusion is perfect for running away from your internal head trauma.
I can just imagine James going like, you know what? The real horror here is that I'm not driving a Ford Focus with 12 seatbelts. And like so many airbags that nothing could possibly hurt me in this, not even myself.
No,
and then fucking Pyramid Head rolls up in the new Ford Fusion, and he's like, "Oh,
I'm looking for
my
my dead
one
wife."
weakness,
just waving a
efficient
skateboard
mileage."
car.
Plenty of trunk space for my dead wife. Oh.
You did it.
Look at all these freaky nurses I have in my back seat.
Oh shit!
Oh god.
But yeah.
Now I'm just wondering, like, if that is a convertible, because I'm pretty sure you can't fit his head inside of one of those things.
With enough trunk space to fit almost all the symbolism.
Exactly.
Almost.
Most of which is very, very phallic.
But yeah, what do you guys think of these kinds of ads? Like, just to wrap up.
Well, oh, go ahead, Lenny.
It could have been a lot better. I mean, it's just, I appreciate this in the same way I appreciate, like, So Bad It's Good kind of movies. But it's similar to, like, what I've seen before with, like, there's a Wendy's ad where they're, like, trying to be hip, but since the people who make it are a bunch of, like, ad executives in, like, their 50s, the only thing that they're even vaguely aware of are, like, 2007 era memes. So, like, they use, like, fucking Like a Boss and, like, a guy called The Memer. And they unironically use selfie sticks, and it's just... It's that. It's the idea that it's, like, the fact that they're doing... It's not... I generally would be kind of meh to them using this to advertise a completely unrelated product anyways. But I figured, why are you using PlayStation 1 Metal Gear Solid 1 when it would make so much more sense for you to use, like, Metal Gear Solid 5? Especially because since you're still making content for Metal Gear Solid 5, you could have, like, a Ford, like, licensing deal in the game, like a Ford shirt or a Ford truck in the game or something.
But Lenny, responsible Ford buying adults only played the first Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh man, I never thought of it that way. It's real.
God. Yeah, Perry, what do you think?
I'm just kind of rolling my head and just, I don't know what to say about this. This is just, in terms of ads like this, I do get that Metal Gear Solid has had product placement before, but they're usually for the sake of either what the fuck or making a laugh. I mean, heck, there's freaking Ape Escape in Metal Gear Solid 3. So, you kind of know that it's like, okay, it's not it's not above the Metal Gear Solid series is not above putting in other series or products just for the sake of either making a joke or having fun with itself. I mean, heck, that's how it's been since Metal Gear Solid 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not opposed to the idea of having product placement and stuff. I understand it's kind of one of the things that usually how most big products go in is that they have to have some sort of product placement in order to get the budget that they need. It's kind of how business works, unfortunately. It comes with the territory. That being said, however, if you're gonna do something like this, at least make it a little bit contemporary or a little bit up to date. Or how about this? Make it so that the ad doesn't rely on very dated pop culture. Because, like what you were talking about, Lenny, and how the one commercial was using like 2007 memes.
Yeah.
That was just like, why would you do that?
Like a certain presidential candidate who may be the Zodiac Killer?
But no, like, if you're gonna do something of... Sorry, I'm yawning. If you're gonna do something that's a little bit goofy ads, go all out for it. Don't rely on some kind of pop culture or something that would say, hey, let's do something like the Old Spice ads, where those are so what the fuck. You can watch those any time and win from any points within the last maybe 5 or so years with either Terry Crews or Isaiah Mustafa. And you could watch either one of those, and they're still fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're so what the fuck that you just love them. I mean, what other commercial can you say you saw Terry Crews' head rolling like a bowling ball down the bowling lane in reverse, where he screams power, puts his head back on his body, and basically has his Old Spice can blowing like an air horn with his head falling off, and he flexes his pecs in order to advertise male body odor. What other commercial does that?
You don't see that every day.
You don't, and that's fun. It just kind of makes me wonder, so why don't you just, like, say, do something like that? Do something so weird that it leaves an impression. And you can watch that anytime. That's when you make a really good, lasting commercial, at least in terms of one way. Unless you're one of those Budweiser commercials that's always trying to has the horses and makes it really serious and somber and sad and has all the Sarah McLachlan music going on and all that crap. So...
I don't remember that one.
Either make it really serious and make it so that way it hits you, make you feel like crap, or make it really, really fucking weird.
So no middle ground, you say? All right.
I don't mind a middle ground, but at the same time, this is a middle ground that doesn't exactly work. To the point where it just makes it seem like, wow, these are a bunch of people that are really out of touch. I wonder if they work with Nintendo. Sorry, had to throw in a shot fired right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't mind these ads as much as I'm making it sound like I really have a problem with them. I just find this to be really goofy, weird, and it's probably not gonna be a commercial I'm gonna remember way down the line. They're probably gonna have to go way more over the top with this than they currently are. How they can do that, I have no idea.
I just wish they were a little bit more self-aware.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they are silly, but I don't think they understand how silly they are.
Probably. But at the same time, do you think it's kind of weird where we're having a commercial that focuses on a series that is well known for breaking the fourth wall, and yet in the commercial they make the commercial play out in a scene where the focus is around a boss fight who is infamous for breaking the fourth wall, and it talks about something that's in real life breaking the fourth wall again. So in other words, if you peel back the layers, it's like breaking through 16 different walls.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, how much more meta can this get?
Yeah, a lot more.
It would only get more meta if Deadpool suddenly showed out of nowhere. Oh god, now I'm just imagining a Psycho Mantis Deadpool crossover fight.
Psycho Deadpool.
The metaverse just blows on itself.
I see you like to play Castlevania. Yeah, and I see you like to play Well, I'm not going to get into that, actually.
Don't do it, Jalen. Don't, for the sake of your own health, please don't dive in that rabbit hole.
Well, anyway,
You might not come back.
Jalen, did you already give your opinion on this, or?
I will say only a few words. Please stop with the advertisements. I don't want to buy your car. Thank you.
You won't be saying that 3 years from now when you have 3 of them. But yeah, while these are funny, these are kind of exploiting the series because I honestly don't think this is what Kojima would have wanted, and I know Konami doesn't care, but oh well, they can be funny all they want, but I don't think people are going to be like, well, just because the Colonel said to, I'm going to go buy this Ford. What do you guys think?
I think Kojima's going to need an extra large bag of tears.
The masses don't think of Colonel. Oh, God. Our Colonel. They think of the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel, right?
Precisely.
It's weird that any of those characters would be trying to sell me a car. But yeah, I don't want to see this continue, but I had this kind of morbid curiosity to see what's going to be next. But
I'm curious too because this is sort of what I guess is a barrier has been broken, so to speak, because now they are like there's no holding back for them in regards to doing ads based on their games at this point. I'm not saying they should, but now it's like if they do. At this point, it's like, oh, what? Are you surprised? We already did an ad for Metal Gear Solid, so, it's like they're setting their own standards for it at this point.
Oh, yeah. But
he's not exactly wrong.
Yeah, true. But we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe things will get sillier. Or maybe they'll just kind of, stop. I don't know. I don't see why they would, but you never know with these people. But, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay.
Future projects, anything going on? Lenny, you got anything going on?
Not at the moment. It's starting to get to finals season here at this college, so currently, just for the sake of making sure that I keep up good grades and sanity, all my projects from before are on hiatus, unfortunately. I do have plans. I do have lots of plans. I am still trying to watch various bad movies and other games so that I can stay on top of things. But other than that, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That's fine. Perry, you got anything going on?
Current, we're starting to contemplate what our term game is going to be. So we'll basically be going into, I think we're at this point just starting to bounce around different scripts and say, hey, what can we make a game out of, sort of thing. And we should be having those settled within, not this upcoming week, but the one afterwards, so 2 weeks down the line, which I am a little bit excited for. And I will admit I'm also very, very worried. And I'm also trying to basically increase my own drawing ability and modeling ability. So aside from that, all that's just school-related stuff. Really not much else. I still am watching stuff on the side. Like I told you guys, I was recently watching Cyborg 009 versus Devilman, which is actually pretty good. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's at least fun to watch. So there is that. Aside from that, really not much else is going on. I am hoping to at least play the new Ratchet and Clank when it comes out in a couple of days, as well as watch the movie when it comes out, but we'll have to see what my schedule is like, and if I can play it, I will let you guys know about it.
All right. But yeah, I also do want to play the game. The movie looks good too, so it's going to be a fun.
I really hope it's good.
Yeah. Jalen, any projects?
Well, Dark Souls 3 comes out Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay, so I've had the soundtrack ever since the Japanese release. but I was like, well, this how these songs are just major spoilers of the bosses. That's just not cool. So I'm going to start uploading the soundtrack come Tuesday for all you lovely people to listen if you haven't heard it yet.
All right. Are there cool tracks though?
Oh yes. A lot of them sound very Bloodborne-y.
All right, I will take it. But yeah, I'm actually very excited for Dark Souls 3. I have a feeling our group chat is going to be very Dark Souls heavy on Tuesday.
At which points I will have massive amounts of times where I will shut the hell up.
Me too, but that's only because I can't get the game right now.
Don't worry, we'll try to keep it spoiler free. Or I'll just switch over to Lenny's tab and go, hey dude, you see that thing with the thing?
Oh boy, that thing with the thing. That's
Exactly.
going to be thing of the year.
You remember that area where it had a bunch of enemies and I died? And you'd be like, yeah!
Dude, things die, spoiler alert.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't care about spoilers when it comes to the Soul series.
Except the world that's been dying for 3 games. Alright.
Oh man,
And it's going to apparently continue to die.
oh no, the thing that's dead also is dead now again because it died. Ah, I can't handle it.
Hey guys, you remember the world that was totally fucked up by the end of the second game? Guess what?
Yeah.
It's still fucked up.
Oh, that changes everything.
Ay.
But yeah, it should be fun times, guys. We should be having another Cards Against Humanity video out because you guys seem to like that one, so we're giving you more.
Yeah, you guys actually got comments on the video now.
Yeah, and
Hooray.
all it takes is just blatant stupidity. All right.
Also,
Pretty
Adolfo,
much
is there
describes the success of every other YouTube channel.
Adolfo, is there anything else that you want to mention? Are we going to announce that thing yet, or no?
Oh yeah. Oh, I hit my mic.
Oh,
All right, there's the big news. But yes, actually, we've launched a Patreon. So if you guys like what we do and you want to check out our nice little rewards, we took a couple hours, maybe at least 1 hour thinking of those rewards for you guys. But go check it out. And if you want to support, please do. Even Lenny threw in for a reward, which is very nice of him.
Yeah.
And considering with his busy schedule in college and all that stuff. I don't go to college, so I'm free. Look, go ahead, Jalen.
I was gonna say Laney's the coolest dude. He does things even when he does not really have the time to do the things.
Yes, he will. He
Guys,
was the,
considering I haven't made you content in literally 4 months, you guys are being especially generous with the compliments. I mean, I appreciate it, but
he will
Just
review
saying.
bad movies for you, except for that one movie he swore never to review. Did you do that?
what was that one?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
I was about to say I think there's only one movie that is beyond my ability to genuinely review it. I need to remember the name of it because I'm just blanking out so hard, but it's only because there's nothing. Not bad in the way that Amazing Bulk is or anything, but nothing at all ever, and that makes it very difficult.
Okay, would you review Exorcist 2: The Heretic?
Oh fuck yeah!
You
No,
probably
it-
can't sleep.
Okay, would you review Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong?
I need to see it, but yes.
Okay, would you review Mannequin?
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a bad movie, but
A lot of people consider it a bad movie. Damn.
like I said, I don't know. I know that it's infamous for being relatively creepy at certain points, but I don't know anything beyond that. So,
Okay, I got one. The
Yeah?
Amazing Bulk.
I maybe. The only thing that's making me not consider it is that since I Hate Everything went really, really in depth with it, it would make it difficult for me to comment or say anything on the movie that he hasn't already.
Uh-huh.
So it's more so the idea that as much as I might want to say things that could or be useful or funny or anything else like that, it's just that a lot of the stuff I learned about the movie, I learned about from his review. And it would be unfair of me to sort of get any sort of, I say, benefit from his hard work, especially because he had to sit through that piece of shit before I did. So, it doesn't mean that it's completely review proof, but at least for the time being, unless I learn some new insight or some other interesting, unique thing to say, I think his is kind of the perfect way to watch it without going completely brain dead.
All right, so I found one, guys. He won't do that for now.
I remember it was Woman in Black. That's the one that I won't review.
Woman? Wait, isn't that the movie with Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah, the one that was him trying to be like, guys, I can do things outside of Harry Potter, and then it sucks.
Well, I mean, all of his movies are like that.
Yeah. This one was especially egregious. This was the most nothing movie that has ever been made for me ever.
I mean, it's okay. It's fine.
No, but that's what I mean. That's my point. It's okay. So what's the point? It's not good, so I can't praise it, and it's not bad, so I can't laugh at it or hate it. It's nothing. It's
Lay's original potato chip.
No, I can enjoy that shit. No, I'm not even kidding. Me sitting there and slowly eating an entire can of Lay's original potato chip would be considered more worthwhile of my time than sitting and watching that movie. Even if it was given to me for free, or if they paid me for it. Eating chips that I paid for would be worth my time more than that fucking movie.
Gosh.
But it's Harry Potter and the creepy ghost house, Lenny.
Oh boy. A creepy house with jump scares and quiet moments before the jump scares and a lot of fucking grim, dark, bleak, monotone bullshit. I've never seen that before in a movie ever.
I know. Hollywood gold.
Having cardiac arrest from the originality here, guys. Call an ambulance. Get me assistance and help.
If you remember correctly, they did the exact same kind of things in the live-action Casper the Friendly Ghost movie.
Yeah, and I could laugh at the horrendous CG in that movie.
But yes. But yeah, guys.
They had slapstick ghosts in that one. That's not too common.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel Radcliffe as a slapstick ghost, that would be a much better movie. But I digress. We've been going on a bit too long. So the point is, that is what we mentioned before as one of the potential Patreon rewards. You request a bad movie for me to review, and I definitely will review it. And since this isn't going to be in the summertime, I'll actually have the time to review it instead of postponing it for 4 fucking months.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, guys, go check it out. We appreciate anything. We all love you guys, except for Perry. He might just like you as a friend, but
it's better than nothing.
Nah, we all love you. Actually, one of the rewards is to either join us in a session of Cards Against Humanity or actually join us as a guest on the podcast. So if you want to join in the silliness, there's also that. We'd love to have you on board. So, yeah, just go check out the Patreon, tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.